Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar on launching your job search in Canada. I'm Stephen, I'm with World Education Services, and I'm going to be your host for today. This is going to be a tremendous session. We've had the largest interest in any of our webinars to date, and it goes to show the topic that we're addressing, and it also goes to show the presenters that we have. And we have with us Access Employment. Now, Access Employment is a very highly regarded employment services agency here in Toronto, and they have a number of locations. And they're good at a lot of things, but one thing in particular is helping people with their job search, and we're going to hear more about that in a minute. Another is their ability to engage meaningfully with employers. So it's no coincidence that we have with us Susan Hawkins from the Royal Bank of Canada. And the Royal Bank of Canada is Canada's largest bank and a very progressive organization when it comes to diversity, be it in inclusion, be it cultural diversity, gender diversity, the whole spectrum. So we're very appreciative for Access for coordinating that and for Susan for participating. And I've been involved with many online forums in the past, and it's quite unique that the group we have together here now. So we have an employment agency, we have an employer, a world-class employer, but then we also have, if that weren't enough, Access coordinated 2 individuals to join us who are alumni of their programs. Access has a number of programs, including bridging programs, which is one of the questions in the pre-survey of the webinar. And they are Flavia Torres from their engineering bridging program, and Alex Bamboo, who was part of their marketing and communications bridging program. So thank you to Access for coordinating all that. I heard the applause around the world. That's great. Quick couple logistical things, and we'll get on to the important bit, the part that everyone's going to talk about. But if anyone's having any technical issues, don't worry. We're recording the session, and it will be sent out, so you can watch it at your leisure. If you have any questions as we go through, type them in the chat section, and we're going to try our best to address them. We're going to also look at the pre-webinar questions, which I've shared and discussed with some of our presenters, so we've integrated some of that in there, and I'm going to there's a couple that I want to address there as well. One quick other note before I turn it over to the formal presentations. WES is one of the credential evaluation providers for the Federal Skilled Worker Program, which is many of the people that are joining us today are joining us overseas, and likely for that purpose is why they applied to WES. Now, Citizenship and Immigration increased the intake in terms of the occupations to 25,000. However, even just in WES, we have significantly more applications than that. So, as at any time in life, it's always good to have a plan B in case your skilled worker program application isn't successful. I just wanted to bring to your attention something that is another plan B, a possible path to Canada, and that's called the provincial nominee programs. Now, the provincial nominee programs are, as you would assume, programs where the provinces can nominate people to come to work in and live in those provinces. Now, each province is different. The levels are set by the federal government, and they vary. For example, in Ontario, the province can welcome only 1,700 people, whereas in other provinces it's much, much more. However, the criteria also vary. So in British Columbia, for their program, you need to have a job offer to be applicable for that one. For example, in Nova Scotia, you don't need a job offer. You just need to demonstrate that you have an intention to live there and settle there. So I just wanted to raise that. If you're not aware of it, please take a look and inform yourself on that. Another path that the government is really making available is studying as an international student. Don't really have time to get into that because I want to get to the presentations, but I'm sure you're all tech savvy and can research that. So next, we're going to move on to the formal presentations. And from Access, we have
Weba Morabella,
Director of Employment Services. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to her.
Hello everyone, my name is Weba Morabella, and I am the Senior Manager for Employment Services here at Access Employment. I'm very pleased to be here with you this evening. To give you some information about Access Employment, for the past 25 years, Access Employment has provided services and programs for free of charge to job seekers and new Canadians. Across our 5 Greater Toronto Area locations, we have established over 1,000 employer relationships from a variety of sectors and industries. We have developed expertise in engineering, finance, human resources, information technology, sales and marketing, and supply chain sectors. We deliver a variety of sector-specific programs, communication and language workshops, and mentoring programs to our clients. For our webinar today, I would like to go through 5 action items you should consider to get your job search started. These action items are: create a targeted resume for the position that you're applying to, market yourself to potential employers. Number 3, connect with local professionals in your industry. 4, develop and refine your soft skills. And number 5, take advantage of the resources available to you. So let's start at the beginning with the first one. Target your resume to the role and the position. So what does that mean? Well, a targeted resume helps employers to see very quickly that you are a good fit based on the skills, qualifications, and experience required for the specific role, company, and industry. A targeted resume reflects the particular role and employer that you're applying for. A targeted resume is customized based on the job description. It highlights specific skills, experience, and qualifications necessary for that job. It will demonstrate that you're a good match for the particular role for which you're applying. It will be researched, meaning that it will be obvious that you have spent time to learn about the company that you're applying to. And consider keywords in the description, because recruiters here in Canada will use software to find certain keywords when they are reviewing resumes. So a targeted resume will help the employer see very quickly that you're a good fit. When you arrive in Canada, you can come to Access Employment so that we can help familiarize you with a Canadian-style resume, ways to apply for work, and refine your keyword search. So number 2, and this is demonstrate your uniqueness and value added through promotional material. Developing a personal brand, much like an organization develops a brand, will help you create a unique and lasting impression on the employer. Through creating your personal brand, you will convey things like your professional values, your work ethics, the quality of your work by providing examples and samples, and lastly, your communication and management style. Conveying your uniqueness and in a powerful way demonstrates to an employer what you have to offer. There are several tools that you can use to communicate your brand. One is a business card, and what this is it's a resource available to get your, there's resources available to create your business card. There's a number of programs available like Vistaprint. Microsoft Word has a program as well. There's a lot of templates that are available online to create your business card. Another one is your 30-second summary or your 30-second pitch. This is a verbal way to concisely communicate key information to introduce yourself to new contacts and potential employers. Another name for your 30-second summary is an elevator pitch. You may want to include in this your work experience, your qualifications, your education, training, and some key characteristics. And when you use this, you use it when you're introducing yourself in a networking event. When you respond to that question that you get asked, tell me a little bit about yourself. And that's very often a question that's raised. Another marketing tool that you will use is a resume. And we will talk a little bit more about a resume. And then there's the cover letter. So in Canada, cover letters are very important. They're part of the resume, and they introduce you to the employer. It's an opportunity to interest the employer in reading your resume, to provide additional information that may not be in your resume. A cover letter should also be addressed specifically to someone in that company and it should indicate which job you're applying for and why are you applying for that job. It's also an opportunity for you to highlight key areas of experience and qualifications and to summarize what you have to offer to an employer. It's also an opportunity, another marketing tool is your professional references and having references available who can vouch for you or speak to your ability in the workplace. And lastly, there's the social media pages. There's your LinkedIn page, Twitter, and sometimes Facebook is also used for your job search. Number 3, connecting with local professionals in your industry. And that's all about networking. So networking during your job search is very important in Canada. Networking is a two-way process, a mutually beneficial exchange of information, services, and resources amongst individuals and groups. What networking means is connecting with people you know to let them know about your ability, about your knowledge, and your experience. Networking introduces you to people who are connected to the hidden job market in Canada. And you hear a lot about the hidden job market, and that is the unlisted jobs you learn about through the connections that you make with the right people. So these are jobs that are not posted online or in the newspaper. And another one is to consider, well, who is your network? Where do you start with your networking? So networking, your network could include neighbors, friends, relatives, acquaintances, professionals that you encounter in your daily life, like doctors and lawyers and bank managers, or it could be the former colleagues and supervisors, and it could even be former professors. Networking has added benefits of helping you improve your communication skills and to gain confidence in a new professional setting. So where do you begin your networking? Here in Canada, there are many opportunities. There's opportunities at job fairs and workshops, at organized networking events, at events that are held at professional associations, at conferences, seminars, even at community events, or online via social media. There are a number of LinkedIn groups and professional chatter groups that you can join. This is a great place to get started. So before you arrive to Canada, there's a number of things that you can do to start your networking. You can seek out Canadian professional associations, and what kind of networking opportunities and activities do they have? Are any of them online? Do they have LinkedIn groups or Twitter chats? Research some of the industry leaders in Canada. Are they active online? Where are they? And how can you connect to them? So number 4, develop and refine your soft skills. So what are soft skills? Well, professionals have 2 sets of skills. There's the hard skills that we're all used to talking about, and there's what makes us successful in a job. So for example, for the IT professional, this may include your programming skills, your troubleshooting skills, your analytical skills, and then there are the soft skills. Now, Canadian employers look for soft skills. Soft skills are what set candidates apart. It's the ability to work within a team, to take the initiative, to collaborate on projects, and to communicate effectively, because these are all essential for the role that you may be applying for. Employers look for a good match. Will you fit into their organization, into their corporate culture, within their team? Networking can help you practice some of your conversational skills and small talk. This will give you an idea of the style of communication in Canada and what's appropriate. Communication skills are very important to Canadian employers. Number 5, seek out help if you're not getting the results you're looking for. So use all the resources that are available to you. There are a number of resources that are available to you to ensure that you succeed in Canada. If you're coming to Toronto or the surrounding area, Access Employment can help you get started. There are other organizations similar to Access available for those migrating to other parts of Canada. Here at Access Employment, we offer a number of sector-specific bridge training programs, which Stephen talked about earlier at the beginning of this presentation. And these programs will help familiarize you with your sector in Canada. We currently support professionals from the engineering, financial services, human resources, information technology, sales and marketing, and the supply chain sectors. The programs normally last anywhere between 3 to 7 weeks and are designed in partnership with employers to ensure that our graduates are prepared to meet the labor market demands in Canada. We also include a Canadian Contacts academic component that does not duplicate any of your existing education that you have. These programs are extremely successful, with over 82% of our participants becoming employed within their field after graduating from the program. Today, you will have an opportunity to hear from a couple of our graduates from our programs. They will share their experiences firsthand with you. Our bridge training programs are enormous help. They have complete components dedicated to building and enhancing the soft skills that I spoke about earlier. Because one of the concerns that I hear often from newcomers in my role is that they don't have Canadian experience, and some employers may ask for that. What I can tell you is that the work that we do with employers, with providing them with education and advocacy on the skills and experience that newcomers come to Canada with, the bridge training program, the bridge programs that Access provide are designed to help Canadians overcome this barrier and to present their expertise and their experience and to quickly learn and adapt to the Canadian standards. No one thing will do it alone. It will be a combination of the things that will help you speed up the amount of time it takes for you to find a job. Our combination at Access includes mentoring and networking opportunity with employers and also bridge program training. This will help to move professionals into their field quickly. We provide a number of workshops that help you get started with your job search. Together with your employment consultant, these workshops will include support on developing your resume, research and connecting with employers, refining your interview skills, social media, and other job search essentials to help you secure that job. Earlier, I discussed the importance of networking and expanding your network. There are a number of programs that you may want to consider that will allow you to connect with other professionals in your field. Access offers Talk English Cafe for you to, it's an opportunity for you to practice your English communication skills and to meet other individuals. At Access, we also offer speed mentoring, which creates an opportunity for new Canadians to meet face-to-face with many professionals in your industry. We also work with the Toronto Regional Immigrant Employment Council, or otherwise known as TRIAC, to deliver the mentoring partnership. This program matches new Canadians with mentors in their field of work, and in many cases, this helps our participants find work more quickly and effectively. Access Employment also has programs that support and help with enhancing your business communication and your soft skills. Our Language for the Workplace Connections, Talk English Cafe, and other programs will help to complement your existing technical and sector knowledge and experience with highly effective communication skills. I would encourage you to visit our website at www.accessemployment.ca for more information about all of our programs. We also are on Facebook, on Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you'd like to connect with us, you can send us a message via our website. There are a number of supports available to you once you arrive here, and Access will be here to help launch that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I was delighted to hear. I was hoping someone was going to talk about soft skills because I can't emphasize that as an important enough factor. We actually did a webinar not that long ago with Ryerson University to try and just scratch the surface of that topic, and many Canadian employers say those are equally as important as technical skills. So I can't encourage you enough to explore that. Now, it's an important note to know that sometimes, call it soft skills and intercultural communication skills, can be misunderstood to mean language competency, and they are not. It's separate from language competency. It's those nuances and understanding the cultural differences in styles of communication. And so at the end of the webinar, I'll put the link to that Ryerson webinar that we have. But again, you need to explore more into that because that's just scratching the surface. And also, you can connect with Access about the services that they have. But we did a webinar recording, a newsletter with the executive director from Access that talks more about their services. So I'll send that out with the recording of the webinar as well. So next, I'm going to bring up. I'm delighted. I've had many interactions with RBC, and I really meant at the outset that they're a very progressive company when it comes to diversity and inclusion. They have an extensive document called their Diversity Blueprint, a 3-year strategy, enterprise strategy about how to be an inclusive organization. They win plenty of awards for their work in this area, and so it's wonderful to have Susan here to talk about RBC. So with that, Susan.
Good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to join you here tonight. I know that we have many people on this call, and so hopefully the information I'm about to share with you will be of value. So what I would like to share today in the next few minutes is a little bit about who we are at RBC, why you would choose RBC, why diversity matters to us, and what's most interesting, I think, for many of you is setting up for success in your career search. Who we are. Well, as Stephen alluded, we are one of Canada's largest banks and one of the largest banks in the world. We provide personal commercial banking, wealth management, insurance, investor service, and capital markets on a global basis. Just so that you know, as manager recruitment, I actually support our personal and commercial banking sector. And this would include all of our branches, commercial center, and specialized sales role. And I look after 2 significant areas here in Ontario, our Southwest Ontario and Greater Toronto. At RBC, we have a big team. We have approximately 79,000 full and part-time employees. And we need them to service our more than 16 million personal and business clients. We're very proud of the fact that we have the ability to serve our clients in over 180 languages, and this is about our commitment to clients and providing them with options. It's important that our clients have the option and to speak to an employee that we're in a language that they're most comfortable in. And so, in fact, anyone that goes on our site, if they're looking for a specific language, will know exactly what branches staff may be in. Why choose RBC? Well, we're pretty proud of the fact that we have had lots of recognition, both from our clients and from our staff. And so these are just some samples. Best retail bank in North America, and that, of course, is very much impact and input from our clients. The next few are from our employees, and it says a lot. One of the best workplaces in Canada, RBC named safest bank in North America, one of Canada's best diversity employers, best employers for new Canadians, and we're also one of Canada's greenest employers. We have significant initiatives. You may have heard about our Blue Water Initiative, and not just the donation of money, but our staff are all committed and participate. So very exciting. Why diversity matters. There is no question that diversity helps create more productive workplaces. It builds an environment of inclusion, attraction, retention, and the engagement of talented people. It's a competitive advantage and contributes to our superior client service. It's not just a social imperative, it's a business imperative as well, and it's the right thing to do. Today's workforce and marketplace is a dynamic mix of different cultures, ages, races, lifestyles, genders, and to serve the market, one must employ the market. And that's where myself and my team of 11 recruiters, when we're sourcing for talent, it is to reflect the markets in which we serve. And that's a very important, it's not just about putting people in the roles, it's about putting the right people in the roles. And I'm sure not a surprise, but emerging market realities are continuously, they create new opportunities for both customer and for employees. Setting up for success in your career search. A starting point, an important starting point, is to visit our career site. And this is, when you open up our site, this is the page that you will see. Now, there's lots of different sourcing tools that we do, and we don't rely simply on our career site. And Wafa had mentioned social media. We're on LinkedIn. Again, Susan Hawkins, you'll find me on LinkedIn. I have a very high network of people. My team is on it. We also use Facebook. We work with some amazing external partners such as Access, and work together to source talent that is looking for opportunities, and that the bank is a perfect spot. And so when you visit our site, we ask you to create a profile and attach your resume. I know that can be frustrating at times, and people say, well, I go and I do that and I never hear from anybody, and what happens when I'm on there? And I do understand that. But it's important, you may not be aware of this, but if we have a paper copy of resumes, I don't actually have the ability to share that with colleagues. There's a confidentiality which protects you, and so it's important that your resume is on there. When you visit our sites, you'll see the types of opportunities that are available. You'll learn more about RBC and our values, and I would encourage all of you, when you're looking at different companies and organizations, to really understand what it is that they do, and that will help you understand what they may look for in candidates. There's also some great sites about resume preparation and preparing for interviews, and so I would encourage you all to visit it. And as mentioned by Wafa, your resume is your foot in the door. This is your marketing tool. This is your ability to sell yourself and the skills that you bring to the table and the overall suitability for the role. And she was right. She gave you a really good tip. When we do create a requisition on our site, it's not unusual to get many, many resumes. And so one of the tools we use is we look for keywords that would be critical to the role that we're staffing. And so if it's a sales role, make sure you have sales either captured in your experience or in your cover letter, because that is one of the tools that we do rely on. Your resume should not exceed 2 pages, and a cover letter. And when you do your cover letter, it's important to link it to the opportunity that you're applying to, and just, again, your interest and why you think you would be a good candidate for it. Be concise. As I mentioned, we get so many resumes that the recruiters really need to be able to look at it and read it quickly and have key information jump out. The other thing is be very factual, and don't try to embellish work experience. Use, when you're describing a role and what you do, look at it from our perspective, and will they understand what it is that I do, and what skills are transferable to go into the role that I'm applying to. And again, above all, be honest. In banking, honesty and integrity are paramount, and so if someone has information that's false on their resume and it comes out, then obviously that would be harmful to your opportunities to move forward. And again, we do look for candidates to eventually apply on our site. We can certainly support people to do that, but I would be proactive and do that. Interview assessments. What I want to do in the next couple of slides is walk you through the recruitment process and what to expect. And so as successful candidates, when we look at resumes and we identify those that appear to have the right skills and interests for the role we're staffing, then the next step would be to move forward to a telephone interview with one of the recruiters on my team. I should let you know that there's probably 5 different recruitment teams looking after different areas here in Toronto, and I have colleagues across the country, but we all pretty much follow the same process. If one is successful in the telephone interview, it's followed by a face-to-face interview with a hiring manager. Another practice that we've just been introducing, and it's been highly successful, and in fact we've done it a couple times here with Access and some of their clients, is a group interview where we invite people that are applying for a similar role to come in. And it's not, there's just a couple of activities, and it involves interacting with some of the other folks there and some group exercises, and it's kind of fun. And for us, it gives us the ability to watch how people interact, and that gives us a bit of an indication how people will interact with our staff or our customers. The interviews focus on understanding, assessing, and we've heard different names, but technical capabilities and behavioral capabilities. And the technical, the basic knowledge and skills. Behavioral is really around traits and attitudes, and that's really important to us. You know, any of the technical learnings and skills we can teach people. People that join us go through training programs, and so it's the behavioral capabilities that we're looking at. And I've just here drawn up a list of some of the things for some of our sales and service roles that we would look for. And so I won't go through them because I know I just have a few minutes left. So, but, you know, again, resourcefulness, sales aptitude, you all have these skills, and you've acquired them through different work, through education, and they're transferable. And so the ability for you to articulate those is really important. Behavioral interviews, and again, we're looking for certain behaviors. We believe that how you have reacted to a situation or action something in the past, you will do again in future. And so you maybe ask questions about, tell me a time when you met the needs of a client. It's something very factual. And your responses, listen carefully. You shouldn't be rushed. A recruiter will absolutely make you feel at ease. Provide recent, easy to remember examples, ideally from a work environment, but if not, social or education is fine. And be specific. Frame it in situation, action, and result, and really what you did to contribute to the outcomes. At the conclusion, it's absolutely okay to ask the interviewer if they require additional information. Please don't expect the interviewer to be able to provide immediate feedback. They're probably doing multiple interviews, but they will get back to you with some feedback. And it would also be appropriate to ask, and the recruiter should tell you what next steps are, and you should know when you'll be contacted. And that concludes it. I hope it's been valuable for you, and I'd like to thank you, and I wish you all much success in your career search. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. It really is a tremendous opportunity to have someone in Susan's role to be able to share insights like that. So that's great. Now, the financial services sector in Canada, specifically even here in Toronto, is very, very strong. So it's a good career opportunity. And it's also important to note that financial institutions, there are a range of things that you can do in them. We recently had a webinar around information communication technology careers in Canada, and in some respects banks are really big IT companies nowadays. So if you have an IT background, which I'm sure we have some people in the room, we do have some people in the room that have that background, it's something to explore there. Now on to some individuals that can shed some personal experiences to their journey to Canada, and hopefully to help you to understand better what to expect, and some things for you to be aware of to hopefully make your experience a little smoother. So, with that, we have, here we are, Flavia Torres, and Flavia is an environmental
Health and safety specialist.
Health and safety specialist. So.
And industrial engineer as well.
Okay.
Hi. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. It's very nice for me to have the opportunity to share with all of you the opportunity that and all the path that I experienced during my job search in Canada. So it's not an easy process. It takes time, and you already have valuable resources and ideas from the two previous persons that have been talking. I have to tell you that I passed, like, I will say almost everything. I went to the Access Employment Engineering Connection program. I spent 5 months with them, improving my English skill and improving all my soft skills and present myself in the best way possible for the Canadian job market. I also assessed my degree with WES, so that means that it gave the employers confidence that my degrees are real. But I'm not saying that I'm an engineer, but there is a are an organization that assess and read all my documents, and they were valid. And I also have the chance to do networking sessions. I passed to lot of steps to get into the job. So my first recommendations to anyone who is joining us is do research online. You know, you don't have to be in Canada to start looking around. So try to look for a profile as close as possible as to whatever you are doing right now, and try to identify if there is some gaps in your training or in your credentials. And I have to tell you that I passed my interviews with a very prestigious cosmetic company, a worldwide cosmetic company, and I got the job, and I was never ever questioned about my Canadian experience. So this is my first job in Canada, and I was able to get a job as good as the one that I have in my hometown, and probably much better even. So it was very, very encouraged for me to be able. But I know that without doing all the steps that I do before, I wouldn't go to that way. Like, you know, my resume was not a target resume. My skills were not assessed in the way that the Canadian market wants to look after that. I was able, for example, to practice work interview before the first real one. So I was encouraged to do the situation actual result examples during my Access program to know how to face a real interview in a workplace. So it was extremely successful because basically I went to one interview, that's it. And during my 2 years of 1.5 years that it took me to get into my work, my first job, I can count the amount of people that were telling me I have sent, for example, 100 resumes without success. I didn't send 100 resumes. I probably sent, I don't know, 15, 20 resumes, but it was target resume. And the first time that I was called for a real interview, I got the job. So these tools work. So what I say, my message to anyone who has the intention to immigrate to Canada is prepare yourself, prepare in advance, do research, come to these agencies, employment agencies that are real, you know, that they have real tools and successful tool to help you in your job search. We all have, you know, members of our communities that want to help us, but they are not real prepared for that. So you could get like the wrong message, the wrong information. So and there is a term that you will know once you get to Canada is the survival job. So there is many people that needs to get these kind of jobs before to get the real one, and that's okay, but never lose your target. So if you are an engineer, you have the chance to get an engineer job in Canada once you are prepared. So in my case, I went, for example, when I assessed my degree and when I started looking, because my degree is industrial engineer. So when I started looking for jobs in health and safety, which is my area, I realized that that I don't need the Canadian experience, but I needed to get some kind of Canadian context to my experience. So what I did 1.5 years ago is that I enrolled in a college, and while I was doing the program with Access Employment, which helped me a lot with my soft skill, I was doing at the same time the program in the college to get my degree, my experience, to get a kind of Canadian context to my experience. So by the time that I faced the first real interview for a job, I was already almost at the end of the program. It was a 1-year program, and I was already finished all the program with Access Employment. So it was not like, you know, it's not like I landed and 2 days later I got the job. No, it was a path of 1.5 years to get the job, but for me it was totally a success. But I was able to support myself during that time with my family and friends. So it's important that you can prepare with real expectation and to be realistic that we will probably get some time. Like, I wouldn't say that for everyone has to be 1.5 years, but be prepared mentally, physical, and have the support of your family, have the support of your friend. If you can, with your, for example, with your with a partner, so one of you get a survival job and the other one study or whatever, it works for you. But there is always a way. There is always a way, and I feel extremely welcome in the company that I work for, and they are also proud to have a very multicultural environment inside. I'm working in a distribution center, and we have people from all over the world. So they are very happy when they start talking to me about whatever troubles they face in their countries or in workplace, and I'm able to understand them. So it's been a challenge, but I'm very happy, very, very happy to share with you, say that there is hope, that you can do it. I do it, you can do it, for sure.
Very appropriate. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, since we have a large number of people joining us before getting to Canada, she's very right. The results show that if you do more work ahead of arriving, there's greater chances for success after arriving. And there's a program called the Canadian Immigrant Integration Program that you may want to look into. They can help people from just about any country in the world help prepare that once you've received your documents from CIC. So you have to be in the latter stages. So maybe you have a range of people that have joined us. Flavia also raised an important point about the value of credential evaluation. Now, WES is a very well-established, large credential evaluation, and we have many, many relationships with employers, with regulators, with universities, but always check whatever your intended use is, always check with them what their requirements are. So some universities have their own system that they use, or they use another provider. Some employers may have a specific provider that they want. For the Federal Skilled Worker Program, we're one of the providers for that, so you know you're good for that. But if you're thinking about studying in Canada afterwards, after you arrive, check, because it may not be WES. If you're in some health occupations, they do their own credential evaluation in those regulatory bodies, some engineering, which are done provincially. So check what the requirements are. So with that, next I'm going to bring in Alex. And Alex is a marketing and communication specialist. He's also an Access alumni, so marketing is important. You know, you're marketing yourself, so but we're also going to hear Alex's story as well. So go ahead, Alex.
For sure. Hi, everyone. I just heard that this WebEx is broadcasted to around 700 people. That's impressive to be in a room with all you guys. Anyways, you've heard so many advices already about what should be done to make it happen before coming in Canada or right after you get here. Everything is important, but I would guess most important of all is to really trust in yourself and in your potential here. I'll tell you a little bit about my story. Me, my wife, and my cat landed in Canada in 2011. It was one of the warmest winters Canada ever saw. Not like the one we just had now. So that's another point you should consider. But it's an adventure, a beautiful adventure at that. My interaction with Access was on many levels. When I arrived in Canada, I did not know much about organizations such as Access. I did a little bit of online research. I spoke with another acquaintance of mine who interacted with Access, and I said, hey, why not give it a try? I remember even to this day the first 15 minutes conversation I had with an Access employee. It was about 2 months after my arrival in Canada, and he was describing exactly the emotions and feelings I was going through at that time. being over dramatic at times with what's going to happen with my professional career. My funds are growing very thin. Me or my wife at that time had no job. The cat was healthy, but other than that, we were growing quite desperate. The advice we got was to look into Access's programs, but also, like I said in the beginning, trust yourself, apply yourself, do as much as you can, and things will go the way you want them. And it's very true. My first interaction with Access was attending the Sales and Marketing Connections program. Like I said, my background in Romania was in marketing and communications. This, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks program, worked very well for me. I think you've been told already, these types of programs help you get a better understanding of what your resume should look like. Before coming to Canada, I was extremely confident that my 4-page resume is the best one there can be. Boy, was I wrong. I had the opportunity to interact with, I don't know, I think half a dozen people, not only Access trainers, but also externals who came in as guests and helped us understand more what recruitment in Canada is about. We didn't learn anything close to rocket science. It was quite simple things, but things that needed to be taught to us. I'm sure people attending this webinar come from all corners of the world. There are a lot of similarities in between cultures, but there are some differences. Access personally helped me a lot understand what those things are, and it wasn't necessarily through the agenda that was taught to us, but really being put in a room with real life Canadians and being able to ask all the crazy questions that we had and getting honest answers that helped. So definitely building on the resume we already had was beneficial, but I would say that the biggest thing that we learned was to grow more confident in our opportunities and in our chances of getting a decent job to start with. Of course, when you land in Canada, you wish for a fantastic career, and as everybody should, but at the same time, as you've heard before, be prepared to start with probably not the ideal job that you would go for in an ideal context, but do not forget where you're going towards. Like I said, it was just the two of us that came to Canada. Access also helped us a lot with basically making new friends. Social life is so important. We often don't think about that. When you go out of your home country, you leave behind family and friends and habits and rituals that you're so used to, and they make a big part of your life. You will miss those things in Canada, but there are a lot of things to compensate them. Again, you have to, like looking for a job, you have to be proactive in reinventing yourself as a social being. Even to this day, some of the Access colleagues I had are some very dear friends of mine, almost 2 years later. And I'm extremely grateful for attending this program from this perspective as well. Yes, there are so many things I could talk about. Another great, I guess, not tool, but another thing I was taught by Access and everybody else I came in contact with was how important networking is in your efforts to find your ideal job or ideal career path. Again, like I mentioned earlier, you come to Canada by yourself, and you leave everything behind, including all the connections you might have had in the past, and you have to start from scratch, build those up. You have all those beautiful social media tools, some of which I heard being mentioned earlier, Facebook, LinkedIn. Do invest some time in get a better grasp of what LinkedIn is. If anything, I would suggest doing that. Try to not only to increase that number of connections, but the quality of them. It might come very useful to interact with a person that might be employed by the company that you want to go for or an interview or anything like that. And that it's a fantastic way to get some exposure. Online is one thing, but more important than that is real face-to-face interactions. Should you get the opportunity to attend any type of networking events, be it oriented directly on finding a job or developing one's career, or be it anything else. Should you choose to go develop your language skills or even painting, definitely do that, because that will put you in a room with more people, like-minded most likely, and get you some more contacts that are very, very important. Speed mentoring is one of these events that was organized by Access. Basically, people that are trying to find a job or trying to understand how they can get a start in their career are put face to face with mentors. These guys are representing different companies or are Access alumni or such that are there to answer your questions and get into a dialogue with you. My first job here in Canada was kind of a direct result of such a speed mentoring event organized by Access. I'm very grateful about that. I think my time is about to go up. The final message I would have to transmit to everyone is be positive. There are a lot of things to be worried about. Make sure that you make a clear difference in between what you can control and what you can't. Work on those things that you can control, you can improve. Things that you can't control, forget about them. It's a waste of time. And good luck. Everything will work out fantastic. Bye.
Thank you, Alex. Actually, that is a very, very important point about maintaining a positive outlook, because in life there will always be ups and downs. It's all how we respond to them. So, coming to a new country will be a challenging experience. You also mentioned LinkedIn. I can't underestimate the value of that resource. I've worked in the private sector where that has enabled me to do business relationships with people I've never ever met. And even from a career building perspective, and it opens up a wealth of information that you just wouldn't otherwise get. So definitely check that out. So now we've come to the question and answer section. And with that, I do want to touch on one thing that came up in the pre-webinar questions, and maybe we'll turn it around and ask some of the presenters a couple follow-up questions. But specifically, we had some people that are teachers coming to Canada. And the teaching occupation is very challenging right now. So the point being of all this is keep your options open. So you may have done something in a previous experience in your work, but what other things could you do while you perhaps are trying to achieve that here in Canada that are close to but related? So, for example, again, teaching here in Canada, the labor market for teachers is very, very saturated, and it's due to a lot of people not retiring that they thought would, and so perhaps that will balance itself out as time goes on. But right now, becoming a teacher in certain areas of the province is almost non-existent. So whether you're from Canada or new to Canada. So what are other things you can do? And interactions I've had with RBC, for example, I know they have a lot of corporate training programs for their employees. So if you like teaching, perhaps consider corporate training as an option. So it's just important to keep those open. So with that, I don't know. I think we covered a lot of many of what was addressed in the pre-webinar questions, and really covered a lot of the key points. So I don't know if anyone else has any parting points that they want, didn't get a chance to address in their presentation. No? Sure. Susan is going to join us. We cut her a little bit short, so.
Hello again. I know my challenge, I had so much I wanted to share with you and I didn't have a lot of time. But when we talked about the different sourcing activities that we do at RBC, one of the ones I didn't mention, and is one of our strongest, is employee referrals. And so when you heard about networking, when you go into a bank, get to know your banker. Ask them what they do, what they like about the job. And as opposed to just asking them to send in your resume, you want to get them to send it endorsed. We believe that employees are a strength and they work for good people. So it's probably one of the greatest sources of attraction for us. So I just wanted to share that.
Valerie, did you have something?
Yeah, I have a couple of phrases
Sure.
that I write and I forgot to tell to the people, and I believe that we haven't talked about this. Open to relocate. It's very important, and because 50% of the people who live in Canada live in Ontario, so almost everyone wants to be in Ontario. So if you're open to relocate, that could open your chance to get a job. And the other thing is that I have a phrase in mind, and I totally work on that during my time. Looking for a job is a full-time job. So when I was focused in my job search, I was spending like 8 hours per day. I was doing networking. I was joining in LinkedIn groups of professionals, and I also passed, and I didn't mention the mentor partnership program as well. And that program was the one who put my resume, because when I applied to the job, I applied to thanks to a contact in the company, and this person bring my resume to HR, and basically they call me first. So that make probably, with the same credentials, same program, everything, without the networking part, I wouldn't have the same chance. So that's also very important.
Alex, do you have something? Sure.
Yes, actually, I do.
We'll save the last word for access, maybe? Or no? Okay, right, Alex.
You've heard so many beautiful things about what coming to Canada is about and finding it the ideal career and whatnot. Do not underestimate the difficulty and the importance of this decision. It's extremely difficult to get a start in your new life in Canada, and to get to a point where you're all calm, settled, both professionally and emotionally and whatnot. Make sure that you put, once you take the decision, make it with your full heart and commitment. It will be difficult. Some of you might come here with $2 million in your account. Some others might come with just a few thousands. Those funds might run out or whatnot. Make sure that you have a lot of patience, and look for help. There is help for you guys. So it's not all milk and honey. You'll have a lot of things to go through, but eventually things will go well. Thanks again.
Thanks, Alex. I just was reading the questions in the chat box, and there was a question around, is there speed mentoring for health professions? Speed mentoring is general, I think, is it not?
There is speed mentoring for sectors, but
Okay.
yes, it is.
And there's questions about bridging programs. Again, we're getting short on time, so maybe just connect with Access. They have a number of programs when they get here, but
And that's what I wanted to remind you is up our website. It's www.accessemployment.ca. Sorry. I would encourage you to please visit our website. If you have sector-specific questions, please send them through our website. We have teams of staff with different sectors that are here to answer your questions and help direct you to your job search here in Canada. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much to everybody who presented. You did an excellent job. I'm just going to put the links in the chat box right now for those webinars and also the post-survey. If you would be so kind as to fill that out, it'll help us to make these webinars better for people in the future. So there's the post-survey webinar and the 2 previous webinars, one about cultural competency and one about ICT careers in Canada. Perfect. So thank you all, and we'll send out the recording. And for those here in Canada, good day. For everyone around the world, good morning, good night, good evening, wherever you are. Thanks.